So today's lesson for reading, I want to do a reading lesson with you. And I want to talk through the idea of annotation or taking notes or making marks in your text when you read. And this isn't new. Some people, underline if it's like a piece of paper that you're reading, or if you can actually write on a photocopy, you might use a highlighter. You guys used those before, right? Maybe you put a note on a sticky note because you cannot write in the book. And so you put a note on a sticky note maybe. Maybe you even took notes on like another sheet of paper, okay? So you're reading and you're taking notes and you're writing stuff down, okay? And annotation is sometimes what people call that. All right, so here's my big question. Why do readers do that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that?
So you can remember what things that you read.
So you can remember the things that you read, okay? Yeah?
You gotta take a test on them so then you can remember.
Ooh, in case you have to take a test, then you can look back to recall and remember.
Sometimes to see where you left off.
Oh, make a mark so that you kind of say this is where I was and pick it back up. Good, yeah?
Sometimes when you're in a book club and you share your notes with people.
Ooh, if you're in a book club, you might want to share your notes with somebody. Good, yeah?
For a reference.
For reference, nice.
Probably so you can think back to a text and answer. Why did they do this? Why did this happen?
Readers, mark up the text for all the reasons that you just said. But what I want to do is get you to realize the real power in marking up the text. Sometimes you're like, well, I know that's why we do it, but I do it really because my teacher tells me to, and if my teacher didn't tell me to, I probably wouldn't do it. And so I want you to really buy into, I want you to really understand why writing in or marking up the text, taking notes like that is so powerful. And to do it, I want to reference this idea of the reading voice, thinking voice, which you saw that video on that you mentioned. All right, so we have two voices in our head, and the one is just reading the book, right? One's the reading voice, just reads the words. Doesn't help us out a whole lot. It reads the words, we can hear it silently, we can hear ourselves say it, we can hear Mrs. Shears read, whatever, but that's all that voice does. This is the voice of magic right here. That's the secret weapon. Okay, here's the problem. It whispers. It doesn't talk loud. And if you just NASCAR read, you just read really fast and you just say every word and just hurry up and get her done. I don't want to do this. Get her done, get her done, get her done. When you're done, you will have no idea what you just read. You have to listen to this voice. Okay, now, this voice that's whispering thoughts, that's what it's doing. It's telling you things. The things it's telling you are like the items here. It's like, hey, this reminds me of, hey, this is like such and such that we learned about or read about. Or, I bet I know what's going to happen next. Or, how come? Why did? I don't get this part. That's what your thinking voice does. It gives you all those thoughts. And if you're reading too fast and you're not listening for it, you miss it. Here's what some students don't understand about taking notes and the thinking voice. What you write down is what your thinking voice told you. That is what you write down. On the sticky note, they say, make sure you have thoughts while you're reading. Mark them on your sticky notes. Did it just make a connection? Did your thinking voice just whisper, this is like the such and such? Write that down. If your thinking voice made a picture, draw the picture. If your thinking voice asked a question, I don't get it, we're lost. What's this about? Write it down. You write down what your thinking voice is whispering to you. That's how it works. So that you can reference it, go back to it, share your thoughts in a book club, study for a test. Your thinking voice and all that whispering doesn't mean anything. Really? When text is easy. Yeah, not when you're reading, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, or when you're reading some simple text. You don't even hardly remember you have a thinking voice because you're just getting it. It's all clicking. It's when you're reading science and you're thinking, is this in English? And you're reading social studies and you're reading a hard math problem, or you're just reading a hard text in your language arts time, and you think, what? That's when you have to pay attention to your thinking voice. And I want to show you how to bring all of those marks and highlights and underlines and all those, I want to show you how to bring that together with this thinking voice. Bring them together in your note-taking, okay? That's what we're going to do. And while we're doing it, I want you to think about this whole concept like making tracks in the snow. Now, I know we're almost to summer here, but in the winter, when it snows and you walk through the snow, like you're the first one, walk through the snow, you ever look back, see your footprints, see your tracks? Okay, that's exactly what readers do. Every time you have one of those thoughts and you mark it down on a sticky note, you write it in the margin, you underline, you highlight something, you put a little note to yourself, that's you, bam, put a footprint on the page. Yeah, look, if this was the page, look at all the snow. That's all snow. You got to put your marks in the snow. What are you marking? Your thoughts, whatever your thinking voice is telling you, that's what you write down. And if your thinking voice says, we don't get it, then you draw a little line and say confused. You put a little question mark. If you think that part's funny, you might draw a line and say LOL, but why is that funny? It's funny because, and you add a little note to yourself so you can remember, so you can reference. When you're done reading, you should have tracks in the snowy white parts of the page. If you can't write in the book, then you can be reading, and that whole white sheet of paper that you're taking notes on, there's the snow, and you're keeping track of your thoughts there. It's so important to know what you think when the text is hard. It's easy when the text is easy. It's when, I don't get this part. You can't hold all of that in your head. Big words, names you can't even pronounce, facts and information. What is this? You want to be reading those in small pieces and listen to your thinking voice, and it tells you, oh, that means this. Oh, I wonder if it's like that. I wonder what this word means. Maybe it's something like, you put those thoughts in the snow. And if you don't have thoughts in the snow, when you read hard text, you're not going to get it. You're never going to get it. You're going to wait for the teacher to tell you what it means. You're not going to do well on the test. You're not going to have anything to say in your book club. We got to listen. That's the hardest part, is to listen to the really quiet whisper of the thinking voice. Okay. So let me show you what I mean. I want to show you my thinking voice, which is invisible, right? Thinking voices are in your brains, okay? But I'm going to bring it alive. I want you to see my thinking voice as I make tracks in the snow. I'm going to read something aloud, and I'm going to make the tracks, okay? And I'll use some of these different tools, and I'm going to use both my reading voice to read it out loud. You'll hear me read it, okay? And then I will, and the text will be in the middle. And I am going to then put my tracks, my thoughts, whatever thoughts I have, out here, okay? That's what I'm going to do. And while we do this, I'm going to be pulling on a passage from this little book, The Kid Who Invented the Popsicle. It's a true fact book, all little short, factual, how things got invented, okay? This first one is, how did we get Gatorade? Who invented Gatorade? How did that come to be? Where did it come from? How to get its name? Okay, in the 1960s, okay, my first thought is, whoa, long time ago. Okay, so long time ago. I'm just going to jot that down. Okay, Dr. Arcade, all right, I see doctor and I think, okay, he's a doctor. I might just take note of it. Was making a study of heat exhaustion. Okay, heat exhaustion. Okay, so hot. Heat is hot. Exhaustion. I think that has to do with like sports, you know, and I'm thinking that a little bit because Gatorade, and I know a little bit about it. And its effects. Okay, study of heat exhaustion and its effects. His test group was the football players at the University of Florida, whose team is known as the Gators. I'm making a prediction. I'm guessing that it's Gatorade because they had something to do with it. After only 3 minutes, okay, he's doing a study. After 3 minutes, whoa, 3 minutes. Wow, that's a fast invention, if that's really what is going to happen. Of analyzing body liquids lost as a result of sweating. Losing body liquids as a result of sweating. I've heard that. You know what? That's like the commercial. That reminds me of the commercial. That means commercial in my world. I know what that means. I don't have to write whole sentences. Dr. Cade came up with the formula for, oh my goodness, that is a fast invention. In 3 minutes, he figured out what to add back into the liquid, back into the body. After 2 years of trying to sell Oh, okay, wait a minute now. I haven't even read any more, and I'm thinking, so he didn't succeed? He didn't succeed. I'm writing succeed with a question mark. After 2 years of trying to sell the product on his own, Dr. Cade sold the formula for a meager sum. Okay, I don't know what meager is. I know what sum is. That's math. That's total. Meager. A meager sum. Okay, I'm going to say it must not be much, because if you're not being successful, I'm going to say it's just a little bit of money. I'll put a dollar sign. That's faster. A meager sum to the, okay, who cares, company. Soon, sales were exceeding $50 million a year. Whoa, that's a ton of cash. That's big. Oh, so 2 years later, and the Gatorade could be found on the training tables of thousands of high schools. Look at that. Then it went all over the place. It was nationwide. Man, you know what? This got me thinking, what did they do differently? How come Dr. Cade couldn't pull this off? What did the blah, blah, blah camp company do? I'm very curious about that. What did the company do? Because it's not telling me here, because it's over. You know, it was in thousands of high schools, colleges, pro sports teams across America. That's it. Okay. That was my reading voice. And every time I talked and wrote, that was my thinking voice. How's that like yours? How's it similar? How's it different? Take a quick minute and turn to the persons right next to you or right across or behind you. How's that similar or different? I just modeled my thinking voice and my reading voice. How's that like yours? How's it different? Turn and talk. All right, back to me. You know what I heard a lot of? I don't think that much. I heard a lot of, I don't think them, I don't have that many thoughts. My thinking voice is broken. Okay, no, it's just really quiet. And if you NASCAR read and just think if you just read the words, we'll be good, you won't be good. You read a couple words and is it talking to me? And you read a couple words and you think a little more. And sometimes your thinking voice says a lot, and sometimes your thinking voice isn't going to say much. Okay, let's try it together. Let's try it together. I got another one of these from the Popsicle book. This is how the yo-yo was invented. Okay, this is how did we get the name? Where did it come from? What's the story on the yo-yo? Came right out of this book. Okay, so now I'm going to read aloud, and you're not going to write, okay? But you're going to do imaginary note-taking, annotating in the air with your finger, okay? I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to say, is your thinking voice saying anything? Underline. Maybe write in the margin. What's it saying? Okay? So get your imaginary pencil ready. Ready? Okay. The yo-yo was originally a hunting weapon. Let's just stop there. Are you thinking anything right now? Do you have a question? Are you seeing anything? Underline, circle. Tell the person next to you what you're seeing, thinking, or wondering. Right now, tell them. Okay, back to me. Make a mark. Somehow in the air, make a mark for what you just said and write it in the air. Your annotation. Right now. Yes, for real. Get your pencils out. There we go. All right, here we go. The yo-yo was originally a hunting weapon used by Filipinos. That makes me think of a certain culture, a certain group, a certain place. It consisted of a large disc of wood or stone. Is your thinking voice asking, telling, or picturing anything? Tell the person next to you. A large disc of wood or stone. Mark it in the air. Make a note of what you're thinking. You think, you read, you think, and then you ink. Then you write it down, but you got to have the thought. All right, here we go. Large wood or stone around which twine was wrapped. Okay, I'm making a connection. I've seen that before. The weapon was hurled, and the twine snared an animal. Whoa, those are big words. What are you thinking? What are you predicting? Use your context clues. Turn and talk. What's your thinking voice telling you? Okay, back to me. Get that thought on paper. Make a track. What you just said. Make a track. Write it down. What would you say? Okay, back to me. Yo-yo is a word from Tagalog, the native language of the Filipino people. In English, it means come, come. Yo-yo in English means come, come. Is your thinking voice making a connection? Questioning? Turn and talk. Back to me. Make a note. How would you note that? Whatever you just said, that's your track. That's what you write. In the 1920s, an enterprising American named Donald Duncan, on a visit to the Philippines, happened to see a hunter using a yo-yo. Stop. You making a prediction? What are you thinking? Turn and talk. Okay, back to me. You just said it. Now mark it. Make the track. What are you thinking? What's your statement, your question, your thought? He happened to see a hunter using a yo-yo. Scaling down the size of the device, he transformed it into a toy. Whoa, those are big words. Scaling down the size of the device, he transformed it into a toy. Stop. Your thinking voice has to tell you, what the heck did that just say? Turn and talk. What did that just mean?
It means that he turned it into a toy that we
Back to me. Make a note. You got to track it. You got to track it. You're not going to remember that. And was soon selling them in the United States by the thousands. Look at all those thoughts you had. My guess is I stopped you way more often than you normally stop yourself. Right? We're NASCAR readers. Vroom, 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 get her done. And they're not going to help you. You'll do better on the tests. You'll have better book talks. You'll have more to reference if you track your thoughts, but you have to listen to the thinking voice. Here's what I'd like us to do as we wrap this up. I gave you a handout there, and it has two sides. I'm going to borrow yours for a second. It has two sides, two more passages from the kid who invented the popsicle. Who invented the quiz? That person is not cool, all right? Who invented the quiz? Where the heck did that come from? And hey, a kid really invented the popsicle? I want us to read that one. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to read with a partner, okay, with at least one other person, and you're going to read together. And the reason I want you to read together is because I want you to stop each other. Because if you read alone, NASCAR, I want you to read a little bit and look at each other. Are we having any thoughts? Are we wondering anything? And then I actually, like I did, I want you to mark it down. Underline, circle, make tracks in the snow around the page. All right, we'll share out about our thoughts when we're done. You're going to do both sides and you need a partner. Go ahead and begin.